Do you struggle with the emetophobia, the fear of throwing up? It's a common one, and so is this mistake on how to deal with it. Stay tuned, that's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk about emetophobia, the fear of throwing up. Is that you? I'm going to talk about a very common thing that I saw in my therapy practice that people who are struggling with the fear of throwing up would often do. It's just the intuitive response to a fear like that actually makes it worse. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified because I do make new videos every Thursday. All right, so what are people doing? Now I want to let you know, I have had a whole history of emetophobia, and I don't want to say all three of my kids, two of my kids struggle with emetophobia as part of their anxiety and OCD. So I totally get this on a personal level, as a parent and as a therapist. And the one thing that we tend to do is try to convince ourselves that we are not going to get sick. Do you do that? It's common. I mean, that's the normal reaction. And so when you're afraid of getting sick, you'll say to yourself, oh my gosh, am I feeling nauseous? And you might do some checking, right? Does my stomach feel like butterflies? What's going on with me? If you have some compulsive behavior, you might take your temperature or check the color in your cheeks, right? That's checking behavior. That's when emetophobia, the fear of throw up, turns into really OCD behavior. You have developed all these compulsions. You might ask people around you, am I going to get sick today? Do I think I look sick? Do you think I'm going to throw up? Now the problem with that, there's a couple of problems. One, the more anxious you get, the more nervous your stomach gets, which then you check or you feel, and then you incorporate that and you say, oh, I'm feeling butterflies, or I'm feeling nauseous, and that means I'm gonna throw up. And then you increase your anxiety. And when you increase your anxiety, then more chemicals are released and you feel more anxious. It doesn't mean you're going to throw up. It just means that you're feeling anxious, right? And sometimes when we feel anxious, we can start to feel a little queasy. The problem is when you're trying to get rid of that feeling or convince yourself you won't throw up, you actually create those symptoms. It doesn't mean you'll throw up, but you create those symptoms where they don't feel good. When you, and this is going to sound totally crazy, so I get that may upset people, but when you don't fight the fear of throwing up and you say, I may or may not throw up, and either way I'm going to be okay. I know in your head you're like, I'm not going to be okay. You will. You will be okay. It may not be comfortable, but no matter what, you're going to be okay. When you accept, and when you have those thoughts and you just say, oh, that's an anxiety or OCD thought, or there's my emetophobia, right? I don't need to do anything with that. Oh, yep, it's making me feel a little bit weird in my stomach. That's just part of the deal. I know for me and for my kids, that was a really big game changer, is when we didn't fight our emetophobia and we didn't try to convince ourselves that we wouldn't get sick or try to get rid of if we were to get that feeling that you can sometimes physiologically get. We didn't fight that. We just accepted it. Yep, this is kind of how my emetophobia works. It'll try to make me feel a little bit weird in my stomach or whatever. I'm going to go and do something that I enjoy doing, right? I'm not distracting myself. I'm just saying, yep, you're here, right? And you may not go away for a little while. And so I'm going to go do something else and do something that I care about and I love, instead of sitting here consumed with focusing on my stomach or focusing on my feelings. Other things that people do, or they avoid things, and that can be very compulsive. And so you're avoiding people, places, and things that you think will create the scenario where you might throw up. And get so consumed with the idea of preventing it that you actually wind up being consumed with it, and you're living it 24/7. And so that's something to think about. So I'm asking, or I'm inviting you to look at your emetophobia and take the approach of, I'm not going to fight it, because the more I fight it, the more I try to prevent it, the bigger the problem gets and the more consumed I get with the idea of it. And so acceptance is key. I get that is so hard. But I know for myself and even for my kids, when we accepted it, not that we liked it, but we accepted it and say, I may or may not get sick today. Or, yep, my stomach is feeling nervous, or my stomach is making me feel like, I might get sick. That's what my emetophobia does. And now I'm going to go do something I like to do. When you don't give it the attention because it wants you to pull back, when you don't and you move into acceptance, relief does happen over time. It doesn't mean the thoughts go away right away because we don't get to control the thoughts. We control what we do with those thoughts, but relief happens over time. So something to think about. I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do. I do have a couple of other videos on emetophobia. I'll link them over here. You can listen to those as well. And I'll see you again next Thursday. Take care.